Real quick before we start talking about our actual movie. Since I just watched Dante's Inferno, wait, was it? Dante's Peak. And you just talked about The Prestige. Is The Prestige the last time we had studios making the same competing movie in the same year?
Probably not, but that's the last one in my memory that I can kind of think of. The Illusionist, right?
Yeah.
With
Edward Norton.
And Volcano. I'm going to say Tommy Lee Jones. Was Tommy Lee Jones on it? Yeah.
And then there was Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. Yeah, that was fun. It was like Michigan State. What team are you on? Are you Deep Impact or you Armageddon? You know?
Well, you got to see them both to know.
No, that one sucks. That's just a ripoff of this one that I happen to see first. So now anything else is a ripoff.
And it feels like each of them had like a action fantasy, and then the other one was more grounded in reality.
Yeah, or it tried to be. Armageddon, when they crash on the asteroid and there's flames everywhere. Not like, there's no fucking flames in space.
There's no atmosphere on this thing.
Right. And then there's Deep Impact, where it's just a lot of people discussing, like, oh, we got to get out of here because this will happen. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, that's factual.
We're going to go into a bunker and survive.
It's a little boring.
Oh.
I love Armageddon, though. I mean, I would always say Armageddon, just because it's so stylish and ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And Billy Bob Thornton was amazing in it.
Yeah, Armageddon wins. I haven't rewatched Deep Impact, I think, since it came out. Same with Volcano. All right, what are we doing here?
Planet of the Apes franchise.
I don't know what
the original.
The music is for this. Bum, 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 bum. Apes.
The music is trippy.
Apes.
Yeah, apes.
Apes.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
No, that's not.
Then at the end he goes, "Oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along."
No, I won't laugh for you.
It's classic.
This is Aaron and Justin Talk Sequels. I'm Justin.
I'm Aaron. But you may call me Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius?
Wait.
Ooh,
Dr.
Zaius.
I'm so excited for these notes. Crumbling paper is the notes of Justin. 2 sides. You can call me Roddy McFucking-Dowell.
He's in this great episode of The Twilight Zone a number of years before Planet of the Apes. I don't know if the audience knows this, but Rod Serling wrote the original draft to Planet of the Apes, came up with the famous ending, which we'll get into. But then I guess they heavily rewrote it anyways, but it still retains the ending. But it's still got that Serling feel to it. Like, that's what Serling was known for, is those twists.
Oh, yeah. I want to start this series off, because right now we plan on talking about all the Planet of the Apes sequels, starting with today with Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I really want to start this series off talking shit about Roddy McDowall. This is the only one he's not in. And I tell you what, boy, did I miss him as Cornelius because of the impact that he was still in the movie, but somebody else made the ape noises instead of him because he's in a mask. Well, you can't tell who it is.
Well, there's a different actor portraying his character in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. But, you know, you wouldn't know it because they're just trying to imitate his English accent anyways.
Yeah, they just make a big deal out of it. And it's just like, no, he's a nobody character.
I don't know. See, I'm surprised you bring this up because I didn't really feel like it was a big deal. It's just that's the interesting thing, is that Roddy McDowall was in more of the Planet of the Apes than anybody. And that's all.
One of the ape extras wasn't available for the second one. That's all I need to hear. Okay?
I mean, he was more than an extra.
Oh, yeah, he slaps his wife once.
He had a name.
Yeah.
It was Cornelius. He didn't really hit her, though.
Oh, he just threatened to, because that was the custom. Planet of the Apes.
Anyway.
Big hit, made a bunch of money, demanded a sequel.
So you watched Planet of the Apes?
Oh, but you know what? It wasn't even that big of a hit. Well, no, back then it was, I'm sure.
No, it was a big hit.
Yeah, $5 million budget, made $33 million.
Not only that, but it was critically a hit, too. And that's the thing that surprised me, because my issue with Planet of the Apes is Heston, man. This was the movie that, I believe this is the movie that turned him into the go-to B-movie 70s sci-fi film guy.
Really?
I don't know how they convinced Heston to be in this movie, because he does not fit. He's too much of a golden age Hollywood actor. And anytime he spoke, it was like unintentionally funny, I thought. Like, he just did not fit. He was too dramatic in the way he spoke. And he was an asshole.
Huge asshole.
And then, like, putting him with Nova, the girl, the attractive, you know, savage or whatever. It just didn't, it was just out of bounds for him. Like, he was too old, and his teeth, and I don't know. Everything about him was...
Can you summarize the first movie
in this film
for us?
Yeah. So, these astronauts are on a trip through the universe at the speed of light. They don't really say why.
No.
And I rewatched the beginning at least 3 times. There's just a whole bunch of people. He was the only one awake. Everybody else was asleep. So he just made a big deal of saying, as he's recording his captain's log or whatever, because they're so close to the speed of light, time dilation. On Earth, it's still 1972, but for them, it's like 3,000 something or whatever. So it's about 2,000 years later. And then he gets rocked out of sleep when they crash land on a mysterious planet. 2 other guys survive in Heston. So the 3 of them get out of the ship and they don't know where they are. According to his calculations, they should be on this one planet, which is 300 million light years from Earth. I don't know how he gets this figure and why, spoiler alert, it's so wrong. And they actually turned around. I don't know how that happened. These are the things that bother me about the movie, but I was just like, all right, whatever. Let's just get on with it. They're on the planet of the apes. And they find that there's like savage humans, and then they find that there's like a society of apes. So like for some reason, humans are the savages, the apes are the smart ones. And because the guys go swimming and take off all their clothes and their clothes get stolen, they're mistakenly thought of as savages as well. And Heston gets shot in the throat, so he can't talk. So they especially, because the savages don't talk. So it all works very coincidentally that they treat him like he's a savage. So then it's a big reveal where he can actually speak. Cornelius and Zira are the 2 scientist chimpanzees, because all chimpanzees are like intellectuals. Gorillas are soldiers, and orangutans are like the leaders of the civilization.
Like religious almost. That's my question, is where do you think they are in terms of society? Like I at first want to say Victorian, but no, it's older than that.
No, I think it's more of like a Socrates, Plato, kind of like old Rome kind of area with a little bit of technology.
The ape society is just progressing, and that's the stage they're at.
And that was the other thing that Serling had written, like this technological ape society. But that was one thing that got cut. Budget-wise, we just can't pull this off. We got to scale them back to something we can actually make. And that's why they were like, well, let's do more of like huts, caves. But anyway, Zira and Cornelius are like surgeons, and they do tests on savages. But then they're all taken aback by how this savage can apparently speak. And he has this story about he's an astronaut or whatever. So then the movie is basically like an hour of like a trial where he's trying to convince them that he should be let go and he wants to find a way back to whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of boring to me. And then he escapes and he gets caught. And then he escapes again and he gets caught. Cornelius and Zira are like, all right, we got to help our friend out. We're friends now. And then they have like another kind of like trial almost, like where they're trying to convince Dr. Zaius that humans were actually here first. And they sit around and they find artifacts. And then they sit around some more. And there's a little bit of gunfire. And Dr. Zaius, he knows humans were here before, but to protect the apes and their civilization, he has to pretend along with everyone else that apes are the dominant species on this planet and always have been. They kind of let Heston go with his girlfriend Nova. They are going to live off somewhere on the planet away from the apes where they can't be hurt or, again, won't hurt them. Yeah. And then, shock, he discovers the destroyed Statue of Liberty and realizes it was Earth all along.
All along.
And that's the movie of Planet of the Apes. Huge hit. Everybody loved it. They loved the twist. It's
Great
very
twist.
Corny now because we all know it, even if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
It's not a bad film. I just felt like Heston is a little miscast. And it's kind of a talky, intellectually dialogue written film. So it's not as fantastic as I think people make it out to be.
Yeah, these movies they try to have a message. Oh, that's what I love about this movie that we're going to talk about right now, because this movie has a message. What do you think the message of Beneath the Planet of the Apes is?
I just thought it was kind of the same as the first movie, where the Beneath is a little more heavy-handed about it, but it's all about how just humans destroy, and we just can't be trusted to keep our planet going.
Yeah, but it goes deeper because everyone is at fault in this movie. It's so nihilistic in that it's everything is bad. There is no good guy. Everything should end.
If you are the people, if you worship a religion and you think that's the way to go, you're going to be the end of the world. If you are just militaristic and you want to just rule, that's going to be the end of the world. If you're the idealist who just thinks that we should all get along, you're going to end the world as well. And they all kind of come together to end the world.
To end the world. First things first, they get Charlton Heston to come back, but in a more limited role. So this movie picks up with him and his... What is the right way to classify Nova?
In Wikipedia, and the way the producer spoke about it, is they called her a humanoid.
She's essentially a pet, and Charlton Heston takes her as his, and that's crazy.
You know, I think almost there's a fatherish kind of like he wants to like protect her, but they're portrayed as if they're supposed to be a couple, and that's where it gets a little weird.
It's not portrayed, it's overtly they are supposed to be.
Yes, but here's a portion of the movie that got cut. The original Planet of the Apes had an extended storyline where she was pregnant, and there's like conversations about it with Zira and everything and how they had to get her out of there because she was pregnant. But the producers were like, because she's a mute, she's not basically human, she's like a humanoid, like it's just too savage that Heston would impregnate her and use her in that fashion. So they cut all that out.
Well, they put it back in this movie because like
not really. I mean,
the first thing that happens is they get off where there's a little pond, and he's all
right, and he talks about how he's gonna have kids.
Yeah, he's like, this is going to be a good spot for a colony, make some kids, and he laughs. And it's like, she doesn't know what he's saying, but he's saying it to
we got to
her.
go back to the first movie as well, because I want to just talk about when the astronauts crashed and Heston and the two guys are talking, and poor, I don't know, Sullivan or whatever her name was, she died in suspended animation. Like, she just looked all decomposed and stuff, because apparently she had a problem with her sleep pod or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like, well, it's probably better for her because we were just going to use her to repopulate this planet anyways, pass her from one to the next. Am I right, boys?
Yes.
But she's signed up for it, so she knows what she's in for. It's a good thing she's dead now.
You have to do the rest of the podcast in this voice. So there's an earthquake. Taylor is Charlton Heston's name.
Yeah, this is after Taylor, Charlton Heston's character, and Nova are on their sojourn to somewhere.
Yep.
Right.
Earthquake. He disappears into a wall. I thought it was a pretty good effect. I didn't understand it, but I liked it.
I see a wall of flames and electricity and stuff like that. There's all these weird visions he's having. Yeah.
In the years 3,955, immediately we have another ship come down. Another ship simply followed their course, trying to find them, and ended up in the same spot as them because they followed the same course. It makes sense.
But why was he trying to find him?
Because they, I'm assuming, had never heard back, but they wouldn't because it's the future. I don't know.
Right. It was 2,000 years later. Who would have heard back from him anyways? Like, they were going off to just leave.
I don't know, bro.
They just made it sound like he was looking for them because they were missing.
Yeah.
Where they should have just been like, we were the second ship that was following them.
Yeah, but
that's what it should have been.
I really don't know about the future thing, because just like these guys, they don't seem to realize that they're going to the future. Because one of the best parts about this next scene of the ship crashing, and I really like the pacing of this scene. It's cut quick and time advances. But there's another guy that looks just like Charlton Heston named Brent. Oh, Heston's not going to do it. Let's hire another guy. Oh, he signed the contract. Good. Heston's going to do it now.
This is James Franciscus. No, I think they already knew that Heston was going to be in it, but he wanted to be limited. But this guy, this is who should have been the star of Planet of the Apes. No offense to Heston. I love Heston. But James Franciscus, he's a little younger. He's a little more attractive. He looks good in a beard for this late 60s kind of thing. He's got the right kind of drama for this movie, but without the Hestonisms that kind of are unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah.
So they kind of course correct, I think, where I think he's a better lead than Heston. I know that might be sacrilege to a lot of people, but I think it's true. So I was happy to see him kind of take over the where am I human kind of role.
I mean, it's basically the exact same thing is happening.
Yeah, it's
but
the same thing.
There's only one other survivor, and when he learns, this survivor, that it's 2,000 years in the future, his mind breaks, and he never recovers, and he dies.
You guys are scientists. You're astronauts. Like, you knew what was going to happen.
I don't know.
It's more of like for the audience, somebody needs to say it, and it makes us think like, wow. You're right. 2,000 years. Oh, man. Everything you ever knew would be gone.
And so who strolls up? Nova on the horse looking for Charlton Heston. And this guy gets in league with her and she takes him to the ape city so that he can see too, and he's all blown away, but he really comes to terms with everything really quick.
Which is nice because that is the filmmakers realizing that the audience, don't want to go through this all again. So let's have a little of him like, what the fuck is going on here? But let's move on. And I appreciate that.
No, dude, that is Heston.
What the hell is going on here? Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't.
No, that was good. It was good.
He just has he kind of speaks in the back of his throat. Like, he just has a long way of talking sometimes. That's all. And then he has a little smile when he says something shitty to his astronaut pals.
Okay, shut up. So orangutans are...
You don't have to wait for me to finish.
Religious. The chimps were intellectuals. The gorillas were the army. So they captured...
What about the spider monkeys? What are they?
I don't think they made it through the Holocaust.
That's too bad.
Not Holocaust. Armageddon.
The Armageddon, yeah.
I'm just imagining...
Jesus. There was an ape Hitler. An apler.
Yeah, there's gonna be an ape Hitler later.
Yes,
later.
They're gonna call it the Third Reich of the Planet of the Apes.
Nope.
Or the final solution of the Planet of the Apes.
Nope. Okay, so these two get caught, Nova and the new guy Brent, and Cornelius and Zira meet up with them because Nova takes him to them. Wait, I'm out of order, but at some point, Nova takes him to Cornelius and Zira.
Yeah, this is before they get captured.
The racism here is great. Zira opens the door, sees Brent, and is like, Taylor? They are very similar looking, but also all humans look alike.
Right, it is all unintentional. But I think it's intentionally hilarious, but it is a good part. I agree. I laughed at that too.
They get caught. We see the armies training, and there's humans being used in the training. Like, they're just hanging out. Like, they have some of them tied up and just fodder.
Well, now, here's my question. Did they just drop this, or what happened? Because at the end of Planet of the Apes, when they let Heston and Nova go, Dr. Zaius is talking to Zero and Cornelius, and he's just like, you guys are going to be tried for heresy. There's no way around it.
Oh, they just dropped it. Have you started the next one yet?
I haven't, not yet.
Yeah, something that doesn't happen in these movies is a lot of logic and consistency.
Oh, I can't wait for the next one, because I'm well aware of what happens, but I haven't watched it, how it happens yet.
I've only watched the first 5-10 minutes, and it's just delightful. So anyway.
Kim Hunter plays Zira, by the way. She was Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire.
Really?
Stella!
That's kind of sad for her.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, they were in a hit movie. You can't argue with that, but she was playing an ape, which is kind of funny.
So Cornelius and Zira are unsuccessful in getting them to escape, and they are going to be taken for target practice. They escape in the carriage on the way.
A big thing about this movie is that they're amping up the army. The first movie is more about like the orangutans being the keepers of this oath, trying to keep the ape civilization ignorant enough not to realize where they came from or what the order of species was on this planet that turns out to be Earth. Whereas this movie, it's like the gorilla general is like, fuck all that. There's too many goddamn humans.
I forgot.
We gotta get rid of them.
Yeah, to even mention it, yeah. They're gonna go to war. They're gonna take the Forbidden Zone because obviously there's food in the Forbidden Zone for the humans.
Right, and the Forbidden Zone was part of that orangutan lie. You can't go there because it's dangerous for whatever reason. But it was just their way of keeping the apes from learning too much about their history.
I think anytime the apes went to the Forbidden Zone, they saw the lightning and fire like Charlton Heston did. And they were like, oh, this place is fucked up.
But that didn't exist in the first movie, obviously.
Obviously, it didn't exist in the first movie. But Brent and Nova escape to the Forbidden Zone. And they're being followed. And so what they do to stop from being followed through the mountains of the Forbidden Zone is they hide in a hole. And
That's what I would do.
The monkeys, they all look in the hole, but they don't actually go into the hole to see if the people are in there. So they just sit outside the hole.
Yeah, they're not trained very well as soldiers.
And this is where we get the biggest twist of the movie.
This is you got to admit, they brought something new to the table here. And I think that's nice.
They're in a subway, in a New York subway.
This is where the beneath the Planet of the Apes comes into. There's a civilization beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
So they're in destroyed New York subway, and I think this movie had like almost $2 million less to make this film compared to the first one.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this movie looks better. I feel like it's directed better.
It's a good-looking movie.
The underground, destroyed subway, and then we'll find the famous St. Patrick's Cathedral from New York. Like, that's a big set piece. Like, all that's really well made.
It was so weird.
It was very weird.
Because it didn't really look like a New York street. It looked like more like New York landmarks plopped down next to each other.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it was. But I still think it looked cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very fantasy version of the way actually New York. I mean, well, everything's very close together, and it's not that close together when you actually go there. Brent starts to get this noise in his head.
Yes.
And Nova hears it too, although you wouldn't know because she never says a goddamn thing. And they go...
How great would it be to be mute? Like, not to have to memorize any lines?
Yeah, that's great. Just look good in this movie. So they go follow this noise, and they discover... What do they discover, Justin?
They discover people living underground.
Like, not savage humans, but like people in...
Survivors. Human survivors.
In, like, cloaks and stuff. Yes.
And these people have evolved. They have mental telepathy.
They don't even speak with their words.
Yeah.
They speak with their minds.
They could do both.
They can do both. Do you think he actually hears that? Or anytime, just for our benefit as audience members, whenever they say something to him in their brain, their head nods a little, and you hear this zit, zit, zit. I'm like, do you think he's hearing that the whole time?
I think so.
Because they need to evolve beyond the zit, zit, because that's just annoying. Nobody wants to hear that.
So, yeah, really fun development. So on the Planet of the Apes, we have advanced apes that are around old Roman era. We have humans that are basically just animals. And then we have actual survivor humans living in secret with mental powers.
Yeah, over 2,000 years they've evolved to speak with telepathy.
And then it turns out they're basically a cult that worships the nuclear bomb. The ultimate nuclear bomb that will destroy everything on the planet.
Yeah, it's like the doomsday device from Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like it was the same thing. Like, they had one bomb, but Heston called it the doomsday device.
Yeah.
So either that bomb itself is powerful enough to destroy the whole planet, or it would set off a chain reaction. I don't know. They don't really get into it, but that's kind of how I took it.
Are we ready for this next segment?
So when Brent comes upon these advanced humans...
Yes?
And he finds out they worship a bomb. It's like their god, because the bomb represents the complete power to destroy,
Yes,
so that's their god.
Instead of crucifixes, they wear little symbols of the bomb. It's just a complete takedown of the church.
So all you need to know is that they use Brent to learn more about the apes, which they've been living under for 2,000 years, apparently. And they see that the apes are entering the Forbidden Zone because they are not susceptible as well as humans are to the mental visions that the people have been doing, like the fake earthquakes and the lightning and the fire that scared Heston and Nova at the beginning of the movie. That's the advanced humans keeping the apes out of the Forbidden Zone.
Yes.
But the apes are coming anyways, and the apes are coming to kill them because now the apes realize there's a civilization underground too because of Brent. They're following him. So that's what the advanced humans are worried about. Okay, we're now going to be killed by the apes because we just can't. They're too savage. We can't control them.
Yeah.
And that's basically all you need to know.
Except they don't actually look like humans, Aaron. They all pull off their faces in one of the weirdest reveals, and they're actually mutants. They're mole people, yeah. So, Aaron, where do you think they get their human masks? And why are they wearing human masks? And
yes, I don't
why?
Know. Why? Because of the reveal. That's why. But I don't know why. Why are they bothering?
Like, it's so
I
crazy.
thought the same thing. There's no sense for them to do this.
If they all look like mutants, that means they all look the same and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
They're not like,
I don't know. Apparently not. I think
we want to look like the animals outside.
Well, they want to look like how they used to look, I guess. Their ancestors.
God, they had to be so far removed from caring.
For being like advanced telepathics to still carrying on an aesthetic level how they look. Yeah, that is a surprise to me.
And these humans, these mutants, they don't care that there's normal humans.
They don't care at all.
And they Really don't like them.
And they call themselves a peaceful society. In order to keep that peace, they make their enemies kill each other. So
Yes.
That's what they do to Brett. I just want to talk about this and how Nova really gets the raw end of the deal in this movie because she's doing her best to look good and keep quiet. And what do they do to her? They have fucking Brent try to kill her.
Yep.
Because the advanced humans are making him strangle her and shove her head in the water. She just gets like abused, and I really feel that's unfair to her.
She really gets abused. And then they send Brent.
And he doesn't want to do it.
To kill Taylor, who reappears.
Yes, so now we get
who's
Heston
been
again.
imprisoned. And Nova tries to save them, and she is shot and killed.
She finally speaks, right? Doesn't she say, Taylor?
Oh, God, did she say Taylor? Did she say stop?
I don't know.
I forget.
I think she said, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I mean, it's true, but it's weird to put it in the movie.
Yeah, and then she's shot and killed by the gorillas who have now entered the subway and are going after the advanced human civilization. Brent and Taylor go and witness the apes and the humans at this confrontation, right? Okay. So this is all a weird thing. I think the advanced humans think like this is the end. Now we need to set off the bomb, right?
Essentially.
Or they don't realize only Taylor realizes the destructive power of it or something.
Taylor only realizes the destructive power because he reads the serial number. And
yes.
To that I say, the fuck do you mean he read the serial number on a bomb from the future, motherfucker? You're not reading that fucking serial number.
No, it isn't a bomb from the future. It was a leftover bomb from his era. And he knew of it because it had Alpha and Omega on it, the Latin symbols, or the Greek symbols. And he knew that meant it was the doomsday atomic bomb, like the mother of all bombs.
Just in the church. They had the launch equipment.
Yeah. So then the humans tries to set it off, but he's shot and killed before he can.
Yeah, the monkeys just wipe out these advanced humans. They're all just killed.
It's not a problem. They don't have guns. They got telepathy, but they got no guns. I don't know what's going on with that. And some of them even commit suicide. I'm like, why didn't they all just get together and be like, kill each other, and then the apes would have taken each other out.
I forgot that.
Yeah, you know why? Because they said that their minds were they're not advanced enough to have an effect on them.
Yes.
That's why they're getting past all of their fake fire and earthquakes and stuff. Because
yeah.
But they still saw it.
Yeah.
It's just that they could defeat the image easier, is what they were saying. So maybe that's where they were getting at.
Yeah.
So then, like, Heston, Taylor and Brent have this, like, you go over there and I'll go over here. But then the monkeys start messing with the bomb anyways, and they're really rough with it. So they fucking break it open.
Yeah.
And then Brent gets shot and killed the same way Nova. Like, he's just dead.
Just
so
dead.
He gets killed. And then Taylor gets shot, so he's dying.
Looking at my notes. Paper sounds.
I thought it was a little unfair to Brent that they gave the movie to him only to take it away from him at the very end. But they were like, well, Heston wanted to be in it, so we gave him the beginning and the end. But I just think they should have gave him the beginning.
Yeah, like one of those handoffs that you've seen so many times.
Yeah, it was a little unfair. It was very like Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien kind of shit going on. You know what I mean?
It's like when the cousin Highlander takes over and is the Highlander in the TV show. Like, Christopher Lambert was in that first episode of the first TV show saying, here you go, you're Highlander now.
But did Lambert come back to be Highlander?
No, they did a movie together, and
that's not the same thing.
I think they left the other guy as the one remaining Highlander, I believe.
Because this is I'm just saying, like, Heston's like, here you go, have fun with it, and then he comes in to take it over at the end anyway.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I just
no.
think that's kind of shitty.
It should have been the Highlander rules.
Right. It only bothered me. Doesn't affect the movie, really. But I just felt like Brad got a shitty offing.
Then Taylor, Charlton Heston, blows the bomb. Destroying
he just does it anyways.
All life.
It was very selfish. He was like, I'm dying. If I can't have it, nobody can. And then he set off the bomb. He could have just died. Why did he do that? Why did he destroy the world? He thought nobody deserved it.
Yeah, nobody deserved to live. Not the fucking mole people.
He hasn't been over the whole world. Maybe the earth has other people.
Nova's dead.
Maybe there's a whole freaking society on the bottom of the earth that's like advanced and everything's fine.
Considering that they're in America in their Roman era, they're not doing too much ship sailing. And yeah, Europe could be fine.
And he just blew it all up. I thought it was real selfish.
And so, yeah, the world ends. There's no possibility for more of these movies because it's just over.
I thought they could have at least used some stock footage of some nuclear weapon going off. but it just did that fade to white thing, which, I get it. And then they have a narrator with one planet surrounding a star. It used to be green, but now it's dead. Something like that.
And now it's dead. And that's the end of Beneath the Planet of the Apes. So we've got the original movies. And then we've got the Mark Wahlberg reboot that I don't think anybody cares about.
I like it.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I just bought it recently, and I'm going to watch it.
Because Tim Roth is really good in it. All the people that play the monkeys are good.
Really?
Even Wahlberg's fine. He plays a good one. Yeah.
But then we've got these new movies. They're completely separate from Burton. And I think the concept is these are all the prequels. This is how it happened. And in theory, the new ones should run into the Charlton Heston one.
Just these two, though, I think. Just the original Planet and Beneath. Because I think what we're going to find in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes, I may have those two reversed, I'm not sure, is that these are the three movies that are basically been remade by this new franchise. Because in the next one, we're going to see how the monkey plague starts from Zira and Cornelius going back in time.
That's how it's supposed to... What?
Yeah. And Roddy McDowall plays Cornelius in the next one. However...
What? He does? Thank God he's back.
In the last two of the original, he plays Caesar.
Really?
The son of Cornelius. Yes. But I would like everything to connect and not be remade of each other. I think that would be fun.
It would be fun.
But I do think that the new franchise is kind of remaking the last three of these original. So we'll see. We'll see, though. So altogether, I think I was looking at Wikipedia and it said, like, if you put all 9 movies or 10 movies, however many there are together, historically they've spent about 500 some million making everything, and it's made over $2 billion. So that's a pretty good franchise.
Yeah, it's not
that's
bad.
A good return. The other thing, maybe just to mention, is that Pierre Boli, I don't know how to say his last name. He's the French author that wrote Planet of the Apes in the early 60s. He also wrote Bridge Over the River Kwai. So those are the 2 books he's known for. And the Mark Wahlberg Tim Burton remake follows his book's ending more than the original ending that Serling came up with for the film. If you remember the ending of the Tim Burton one, Wahlberg goes...
Don't tell me.
You don't want to know, okay. But it got derided like, oh, you didn't come up with something nearly as good as the original film. Whatever you did came up with made no sense. It was shitty. But I guess that's actually what the original ending of the book was. I don't know. So I don't let that bother me because I actually enjoy the film. And they bring Heston back and he plays one of the apes, which is fun.
That's cute.
I liked the production design. I thought it was a better directed film. I can't remember the director of the first movie. I think this one was like Ted Post or something. They were like TV guys. They just directed films.
Like the first guy was a good director, and he couldn't do this one because he made Patton.
Yeah, that's right. And he won an Academy Award for Patton. So there you go.
This guy made Magnum Force after this.
Oh, with Eastwood?
Yeah, it's the only other one I recognize.
Wow. Okay.
So the first Planet of the Apes, $5.8 million budget, $33 million made. For Beneath, they cut the budget in half, $2.5 million, and it made just under 20. It made 19.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, the world is over. And with that, this episode is over. So live like there's no tomorrow, because Charlton Heston will absolutely fucking end the world. Yeah.
What a crazy guy he turned out to be, too.
I know!
Like the NRA president thing. Oh, my God. He did some good work, though, even into the 90s and 2000s, you know. Maybe not 2000s. Into the 90s, I would say. Like when he pops up in Wayne's World.
Wasn't he in True Lies?
Yes, he was in True Lies. He was in the Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter film, you know. He was like the book guy in that. He's like William Hurt, how he was playing, you know, the General Ross, you know, in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Or and now Harrison Ford is kind of taking over that. Like that's what Heston was doing kind of in the 90s. Like we need some guy to come in just to be like the leader of something. Let's get Heston. So I think that was cool.
Next week or next episode, more monkeys. It's going to be a lot of monkeys.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love you all.
Bye.